Today I'm doing part 2 of a 3-part video series where yesterday I did the states Donald Trump will definitely win. Today I am doing all the states that I believe Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are going to win in the presidential election. And if you like this video, remember stay tuned for tomorrow because I will be doing another video on the pure battleground states in the 2024 presidential election. So first things first, we're going to look really close at the state of Hawaii down here. I'm going to scroll down for 1 second, then go back up. Joe Biden defeated Donald Trump in the state by almost 30 points back in 2020. Hawaii is undoubtedly going to be a Democratic state in 2024. Oh, that's Washington. Getting ahead of myself 1 second. All right, that's Hawaii. Hawaii and its 4 electoral votes will be won by Kamala Harris. Now we're going to go to the state of Washington. Biden won it in 2020 by 19.2%. Definitely going to be a state Kamala Harris is going to win in the 2024 presidential election. Now we're going to go down to the state of Oregon and its 8 electoral votes. Oregon, Biden won it in 2020 by 16 percentage points. Probably going to be a similar number in 2024. It's a state that's always talked about like, oh, maybe it'll be more competitive this time, but it usually isn't. It's always a safe Democratic state and will be so once again. The state of California, 55 electoral votes, 29.2% win for Biden over Trump. No surprise here. California, the biggest population state in the entire country, will go for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. That gets Harris and Walz up to 78 electoral votes with just those 4 states. Now, geographically, it gets interesting because the rest of the country is pretty much all going to be either Republican or a toss-up. So we're not going to go all the way too far. There's just 2 states left before we get to the eastern part of the country. The first state we're going to look at that is a safe state is we are now going to look at the state of Colorado. It was won by Biden over Trump by 13.5 percentage points. It's a state that since 2012 has continued to move further and further to the left, and I anticipate that will continue in this election once again. This time it'll be over 15 percentage points, and Harris will win Colorado in the safe margin. Next, we're going to go to New Mexico, just south of Colorado. It's very similar in percentages to Colorado. The only difference is I think it's possible that New Mexico will actually be a likely Harris state. I don't feel 100% confident saying Harris will get a 15 percentage point margin of victory in New Mexico. Probably very close, like 13 or 14%. So I'm putting it in likely Harris, but I have no doubt in my mind she will be winning that state. And right now, I think I'm prepared to put Nebraska's 2nd district and likely Kamala Harris. I could absolutely see this district being lean or even a battleground district, but I think for right now, given how it performed in the last election, let me just show you what it looked like. It was a 6.6% win for Biden over Trump, and over 5 percentage points and under 15 is likely. I don't know if that support for Harris will be quite so good, but I'm not sure if it'll go down enough to make it not a likely state. So I'm going to put it as likely Harris for right now. Next, we're going to go to the state of Minnesota and its 10 electoral votes. Tim Walz, the governor of the state, is Harris's running mate. Biden won it by 7 points back in 2020. I fully expect the state to go to Harris and Walz. I think it's probably going to be likely under 15 percentage points, but undoubtedly Minnesota will be a state for Harris and Tim Walz. Next, we're going to go a little bit south of the state of Illinois and its 20 electoral votes, the home state of President Barack Obama. 17-point win by Biden back in 2020. I fully expect this state is going to be over 15 percentage points in 2024. Illinois and its 19 electoral votes now after the U.S. Census in 2020 will go to Kamala Harris. Now we're going to go up and down the eastern coast of the United States and look at a lot of these states and districts. First things first, District of Columbia, D.C., Washington, D.C., 86.8% win for Biden over Trump. Obviously, going to be a Democratic win for Harris. Now we're going to look at the state of Maryland while we're over here. Maryland and its, I believe, 10 electoral votes, 33-point win for Biden. Maryland will be a safe state for Kamala Harris. While we're over here in the state of Virginia, this is a state that is looking very, very close for a time. The polls, there have not been too many since it became Trump versus Harris, but it was a 10-point win for Biden over Trump. back in 2020. I kind of have a hard time imagining it being under 5 percentage points of Trump versus Harris right now. I feel pretty confident Virginia will go for Harris somewhere in the 5 to 15% range. I know it's a very wide range, but I think it'll be definitely somewhere in there. I don't think this is going to be a state that'll be under 5 percentage points. So Virginia, and that's 13 electoral votes likely for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Next, we're going to move up to the state of Delaware, and it's 3 electoral votes, a 19-point win for Biden. I believe that is a safe state. It will be a safe state for Harris and Walz again. 3 electoral votes in Delaware going for Harris and Walz. Next, we move to the state of New Jersey, 15.9% back in 2020, just big enough to be outside of the likely margin. I do believe since it's now Trump versus Harris, I think there will be kind of like galvanized Democratic support where New Jersey goes back into the safe column for Harris and Walz. That gets the Democrats up to 166 electoral votes. And now we go up to the state of New York, and it's 28 electoral votes. New York's an interesting state because it's always been a big Democratic safe state at the presidential level. In 2022, in the midterms, it was a much closer governor's race than expected. A lot of House races flipped for the Republicans. So there was a little bit of optimism for Republicans. Maybe it won't be as big of a victory in 2024. But right now, up until I see any data, I am very confident New York will be a safe over 15 percentage point victory for Harris over Trump in this state. 194 for Harris and Walz going up against Trump in the Democratic states. Now we're going to go into New England, the final region of Democratic states in the country. And we're going to start off with the state of Connecticut. Biden won it by 20 points back in 2020. I fully expect this state to be over 15 percentage points once again. This will be a safe state win for Harris and Walz. Now we're going to go to the state of Rhode Island, and I believe it's 4 electoral votes, 20.8% win for Biden in 2020, similar to Connecticut. This will be safe for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Next, we're going to go up north, and it's 11 electoral votes for Massachusetts. Massachusetts, 33.5% victory for Biden over Trump in this state. Massachusetts will absolutely be a safe state for Kamala Harris. Now we're going to go up north to Vermont. Vermont, 35-point victory for Biden over Trump. This is definitely going to be a safe state for Harris and Walz as well. And we're going to actually skip New Hampshire for a second, so I'm going to talk about that at the end. Maine 2nd District, we know will be in the Trump column from the last video. I believe I forgot to mention that in the last video, so just in case you're watching that one and you notice I did accidentally miss it, Maine's 2nd District will be safe for Donald Trump. So just imagine I put that in the last video. And now we know we go to the state of Maine. Maine, like Nebraska, splits up its votes by electoral district. We know Maine at large won for 9.1 percentage points for Biden over Trump back in 2020. Maine's 1st district was a 23-point win for Biden in 2020. And I actually do believe Maine is going to follow a very similar path in 2024, where the 1st district of Maine will be safe over 15%. Maine at large, I think, will be under 15%, but over 5%. So it'll be considered a likely Harris state. And now we move to the state of New Hampshire, the last remaining state that, New Hampshire, I've gone back and forth on where to put this state. Is it a battleground state? Is it not a battleground state? A lot of the polls have been very conflicting on it. But since Harris has joined this race, it showed to be at least a 5 or 6 point lead for Harris in New Hampshire. The most consistent poll I've seen is that it's been a 6-point lead, a 7.4% win for Biden over Trump in 2020. I think a 6-point win or a 5-point win in New Hampshire is just enough to put the state of New Hampshire in the likely Democratic column. And I think that's where New Hampshire is going to be for me right now, putting it in likely Democrat at the presidential level. The state level is a different conversation, but at the presidential level, I think New Hampshire is still a likely Democratic state at this time. It has only voted Republican once since the year 2000. That was in the year of 2000. So I don't think New Hampshire is going to be a battleground state this time around. It looked like Trump versus Biden, it might have been, but Trump versus Harris so far, it looks like a state that the Democrats are more likely than not going to win by over 5 percentage points. So these are all the states right now that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, I know for sure, are going to win on Election Day. they're going to for sure get 226 electoral votes. Even if Trump has a great night, it's hard for me to imagine Trump winning Minnesota or New Hampshire or Virginia. Maybe Nebraska's 2nd district might flip, but I think all things considered, given how the election is kind of standing right now, I'm pretty sure all these states that are likely Democrat are going to remain likely Democrat by the end of Election Day. So that'll do it for today's video. These are all the states that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz will for sure win. And if you liked this video, please remember to check out yesterday's video, which was all the states Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are for sure going to win in the 2024 presidential election. And if you really like this video, make sure you stay tuned for tomorrow's video, which will be all the battleground states in the 2024 presidential election. All right, that'll do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to give this video a like and click subscribe to my channel. Share it with all your family and friends. If you really enjoyed this, I really appreciate it if you would. Thank you so much for watching and hope to see you in a future video.